This is our homemade alien chestburster scene. You guys asked for it and we did it. So stay tuned for lots of fake blood and to see how we brought this cute little guy to life. Let's go. So this big bloody scene takes place pretty much in one spot. So we did it here in my dining room. So we've used the inside of my house a lot. It actually has doubled for spaceships many times, but we get to use the table for actually being a table. We set up some of the juice that they have. It looked like V8 and a space can there, and some of the bowls looks like they're eating cereal and setting up what it is they're eating before all the dramatic action happens. So I wanted to make sure the costumes were just right in this. They're pretty simple, but they're specific. For the patches, I printed out some stuff that I kind of just photoshopped together. So it's just paper, hot glued it on there, cut it out, hot glue, hot glue. It looks like patches. The white shirts were supposed to be short sleeve. They're kind of their uniform that 3 of them wear. So I just bought long sleeve dress shirts and then just cut the sleeves, folded up a little seam, hot glued it, good to go. But then I used the cuffs where the button is, cut those into strips, and then put that on the shoulder. And then Ash has a similar shirt, but his is more of like a mint color. And he has like a little, I don't know if you put pencils in it or what, but it's like a little flippy loopy thing. And so I just used a little extra strip that I had and glued it on there and made the same shape and it works. And then my guy wears a pretty cool hat in the background, put a patch on it. And then those little leaf things, I just drew them real quick and cut them out. And then some t-shirts with patches, really easy for the other ones. Had to make several versions since we knew we were gonna be shooting out of order. Once one will get really bloody and then we need to go back and shoot the beginning scenes, we need to switch back to the clean one. That was it, you know, just got them all laid out. Good to go, ready to fill them with people. We brought in André from the channel BlackNerdComedy to play one of the roles for this one because he thought it was kind of a fun role. Parker is his name and he wears the sweet blue bandana and has some funny lines.
Usually on my own channel, BlackNerdComedy, I'm just talking about scenes, but here I got to reenact the entire scene, which was really fun.
He's into geeky stuff like we are and movies, so he was excited to come on board for this one.
I got to talk in old jive 80s black man, so that was fun. Hey baby, food ain't that bad. That was always nice. Made my people proud. For
Chris, he plays Ash, who actually just has very normal short hair. But since Chris doesn't have hair, it's, you know, a matter of doing another hack job on one of the wigs we have. So I used the same wig that I had done a previous hack job on for PETA to get the receding hairline in that wig. I actually just cut the shape of it, and I was afraid that the wig itself might sort of fall apart and the netting would come apart, but it worked pretty good. And Luke plays Kane in this, and he has lighter hair, so I just took the black spray to it, which actually kind of made a mess. It was a little hot in here, so as he's sweating, it was just black spray gunk dripping everywhere, but it sold as darker hair. We didn't have to use a wig for him. Sigourney Weaver as Ripley doesn't really show up a lot in this one, but she's kind of in the background, peeking, checking out what's happening. Some of the other people got to throw on wigs. I get to wear a funny wig in this one, so wigs all around.
He had just started clapping this last one.
So it seemed like Luke might have had the easy job in this one because he got to lay on the table most of the day, but he did a lot of writhing around and thrashing and moving his legs and arms, and so it was actually pretty tricky.
It was, you know, a lot of this, a lot of, I had the tongue going for a little bit there. So yeah, it was a physically demanding role, but I was happy to do it. It was a blast.
And he's a tall dude, so his legs went all the way off this table and we had to prop him up on another stool like 10 feet over there. And then on action, he would just go crazy. At one point, we heard a loud crack and we thought this was going down. Let's just see. Something snapped, but it didn't fall, so. But luckily it didn't. My table is intact. Luke did a great job. He was a real good sport.
What happened when you tried to eat your sandwich?
Some of it came out of this hole, but it was fortunately just like the lettuce and stuff, so.
I got to play a pretty funny character in this one. We realized as we were shooting it that he's kind of oblivious to what's happening. Everyone else is like panicked and frantic and there's blood and aliens and like my guy just kind of like, huh? And in one shot, he has a cigarette. Don't know when he lit it, don't know when he put it out, but he gets a cigarette just for one shot because he's cool like that. Don't smoke, kids. The big reveal is the alien, and how do you do the homemade alien? Well, I started with the sock on my hand because we've done some sock puppet stuff, so I'm kind of familiar with the format. And I went with the sock rather than actually building a puppet that had like a moving jaw separately that we could control or anything like that, because I wanted to be able to just control it and really get a lot of movement out of it. I basically just put the sock on my hand and just kept adding to it until it was done, and I didn't take it off. Made a little jaw out of cardboard. Then on top of the sock and the cardboard, once that was glued, I decided to use strips of your basic latex gloves. He's got the two pieces that go along the side of the mouth, and then we've got a piece that goes over the top of the head, tried to make it kind of round. So I just had to hold it into place, just holding it under my hand, sitting there, waiting for it to dry. And the reason I wanted to go with the latex is because just looking at the pictures, first of all, it was a similar color, but it seemed to be just the right texture. The latex gloves are a little tricky to cut, I found, especially when I had like a half-built puppet on my hand. When this thing opens its mouth, it has really particular teeth. They're like a dark silver, almost like a tungsten sort of color. And I had built the whole thing. I still didn't know what I was gonna do for the teeth. So like usual, I start just looking through all my drawers and I found little machine screws that seemed just right. So I just poked each one of those through individually. I should have done that first before I glued it all together. And then I made the tail out of just a piece of rope that I put bits of the fingers, like the latex gloves, and just like kind of slid them on and just glued it. Once I put the blood on the latex, luckily it looks just right. It just kind of dripped off in a certain way that had that gross alien-y sort of look to it. So it worked out really good.
You know, stuff pretty tight on the movements.
So on the day of shooting, we knew we were gonna make a mess. Luckily, their table was white, so I put a white sheet down. Did not anticipate the amount of splatter that was gonna happen in here. The first time we really see blood is when he gets a big spatter that kind of just shoots out of his chest. And the way we did that was actually by like just tossing blood at him. So Sean practiced with some water in a cup and he got really good at his aim, and it was like, he could kind of like hit anything on target. So then we moved on to phase 2, which was we put a towel over Luke and did a run through of the shot with water.
Yeah, dude, you nailed it.
So when the time came, we really only had one shot at it. Sean actually has his arm in the shot, so on action, he pulls his arm out on cue without getting his hand in front of the lens. He fires off that little cup of blood and just hits him right in the chest. He mixed it with water a little bit because I was worried that it's too much like honey at first, so I didn't know if it would even come out of the cup. Might have added too much water because when that thing hit his chest, it just covered the room. It hit André, it got his whole outfit bloody. Everyone got just lattered with blood.
Here's like blood over there, blood over here. There's literally blood all over this place. It looks like a crime scene right now, like CSI Pasadena.
If you've never used fake blood before, it is really sticky. It's basically like syrup or something, so nasty. It's getting everywhere. Everyone just kind of had to deal with the sticky blood. But we needed to do a few more shots where the blood really does splash and splatter. We looked around the house for something else that could stand in for blood so we didn't actually have to spray it everywhere. So we rated our snacks and we discovered that cutting up little bits of red licorice worked really well. So one shot, we've got 2 people throwing them sort of in opposite directions so they sort of hit and splatter. And then the other one, we just throw it right at Sarah as she's screaming. It's the perfect color, and when it hits the light, it's just translucent enough that it looks like big droplets of blood, and it was a lot easier to clean up.
We got to see an actual alien puppet burst out of a guy's chest. That was enjoyable.
Starts out simple. We've just got a little bump that comes out. We had Sean reaching up inside of Luke's shirt for the first view, and just like bump.
So you can kind of shoot it this way, yeah, so that way we get that up and down motion like a whack-a-mole.
And then we finally cut the shirt, put little slits in it, and so then the hand goes all the way through. Now we're in alien mode. There's some cool close-ups that we really wanted to nail, get the timing just right. We put the blood all over the alien, wrapped the tail around. Sean's reaching up next to Luke's side, kind of stretched the t-shirt out so it still looks like his chest. As the alien comes up, we had Chris pull the tail through the shirt. For some of the takes, we actually just watched the scene back so that Sean, who's puppeting the alien, can just follow the timing of the actual scene. And then I just have the camera and I just follow exactly what's happening, and we've got Luke in the background twitching and being all gross and dead.
Pretty good.
How'd you get cast for this? Did you get called into a casting office, or was this...
I did. I think the casting director saw me on an episode of Law & Order SVU.
Okay.
I was a lawyer.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you have to use a lot of makeup?
No, just a suit.
Why is this still going? This went on for 5 hours.
So then the alien has to run all the way down the table, and our table isn't actually that big, so we just set up some TV trays and extended the sheet and put a lot of junk for it to run into. And so we ended up using some fishing string, hanging it on a pole, and it sort of just dangles. It needs to run from one place to the other, right past the camera. And that was easier said than done. When that thing is hanging on the end of the string, it's just kind of wild, it goes everywhere. So we did it so many times, trying to get the angle just right, get it to not come too high off the table like it was flying. We want it to like still look like it's on the table. It looks like in the shot that he runs into a pitcher, we ended up just tying another string to the pitcher, and at the right moment, we just pulled on it and knocked it over. In order to get the tail to kind of wiggle like that, which is a really funny part of that shot, Sean's actually controlling the puppet move, and then someone else just pulls the string that's attached to the tail and just like makes it wiggle like crazy. The last take, we just nailed it. It looks so funny. Looks just like the original shot.
That was awesome. That's the one.
And that's that's how you make a bloody mess in your dining room, and how you make a homemade alien scene. So be sure and come back every week. We've got new episodes every Tuesday, and let us know what other scenes and trailers we should try. So thanks for watching. Excuse me, I've got some cleaning I have to do. You're coming with me.
Okay, you were like a fetus lawyer?
You put a wig on me and I look just like Jeffrey Tambor.
Damn it! I'm trying!